Today we're going to run you through how to adjust any of the 4 drivers in the Callaway Rogue ST family. Now you'll notice when I hold all the drivers together just at a glance that all 4 Rogue ST drivers in the family feature Callaway's adjustable OptiFit hosel, but when I take the shafts out you'll also notice there's not even one swappable or sliding weight to be found anywhere in the new lineup. But Callaway reckons by providing 4 models in the family, there's plenty of opportunity for you to fit perfectly into one of them. So essentially the first real adjustment we really need to talk about is picking which model here will suit you best. So let me quickly run through those and outline the differences between the 4 of them. Now let's start with the Rogue ST Max driver here. This is the most standard driver in the family with the best combination of distance and forgiveness for most golfers. Numbers wise, it is the most forgiving driver in the Rogue ST family and with a built-in slight draw bias. Now the tungsten weight here at the back is 26 grams. Next is the Rogue ST Max LS. LS standing for low spin. So compared to the Max driver, the Max LS will put less spin on the ball. It will have a more neutral, as in neither high or low flight, and it'll also mean a little bit more workability. It's important to note here though that while some low spin drivers are really geared towards better players, the Rogue ST Max LS is not one of those. The tungsten weight here is 23 grams and that helps move the center of gravity slightly forward compared to the Max ST head, but there's still absolutely loads of forgiveness in this and it'll suit a broad range of handicaps. Now the Rogue ST Max D is this one here, the draw biased or slice killing version. The Max D has both a visible weight on the outside and more that you can't see on the inside, and a default upright lie angle that give the driver a built-in draw bias. In this, the tungsten weight is down at 20 grams and the head shape is slightly elongated for more forgiveness. It'll look slightly closed at address, be super easy to launch and be really effective in taking the right side out of play for a right-handed golfer. And finally, the Rogue ST Triple Diamond LS. Again, this is low spin, but this one is the real better player version. It's the lowest spinning Rogue ST model. Has a 450cc compact head shape with a neutral to fade bias and a 20 gram tungsten weight in the sole. It is truly a spin killer for players whose miss is a hard left turnover or who really need to drop their spin numbers and are willing to forego a little bit of forgiveness to achieve that. Now, having differentiated between all the models, what we can adjust in whatever Rogue ST driver you choose is loft and lie. They all have the same OptiFit hosel and all you'll need to adjust them is this adjustment wrench that comes with your driver. Now, before we start that, let's look at the markings on the hosel. You'll see here that this is a 10.5 degree hosel. Below the 10.5 there's a little hyphen line. At the very bottom there's another little hyphen line, and in between those you have a top and bottom cog with letters and numbers. Now, the factory setting is S for stated loft on the lower cog, in this case 10.5 degrees, and N for neutral on the upper cog. Now, the golden rule when adjusting the OptiFit hosel is to have these little lines lined up at all times when the head is attached. Now, if you've never used an adjustment wrench before, let's look at the opening and locking mechanisms of the screw. Now, to open or loosen the shaft, put the wrench into the top of the screw, turn it anti-clockwise and it will open. To tighten the screw, you just do the opposite, you turn it clockwise, and the screw, when fully tightened, it makes an audible click sound, there it is, to let you know that the sleeve is safely locked in place and to avoid over tightening. So let's go on ahead here and remove open the shaft screw and remove the head here. Now when fully opened, the head can be easily removed from the shaft. And you'll notice the top and bottom cogs on the shaft can turn independently of each other. And these indicate some of the different loft and lie options you can choose. You can add up to 2 degrees of loft and go 1 degree lower. Then for each loft, you can choose an N for neutral and a D for draw setting. The key to setting up the OptiFit hosel is to focus on finding your desired loft first. It's quite strange, but it's really important to know that S for stated loft and +1 degrees are marked on the bottom cog, and -1 and +2 degrees are marked on the top cog. So let's say I want to hit the driver a little higher and keep the same lie angle. If I wanted to add 1 degree of loft, I would go to the bottom cog and I line up the +1 with the little hyphen. Holding that in place with my fingers, I can now turn the top cog. It's like a little jigsaw. I now see that I have 2 options that fit, N for neutral and D for draw. So if I choose the neutral option, I line up this N and reattach the head, ensuring my settings are lined up between the 2 hyphens. The driver is now playing at 11.5 degrees of loft. Now, if I wanted to flight the ball a little lower maybe and add a little draw bias, let's do that and lower the loft by 1 degrees. So I would first spin the top cog until -1 lines up with the hyphen. Then I would spin the bottom cog to choose neutral or draw. This time I'll pick D for draw. Again, they'll fit together like a jigsaw, and you can pop the head back on, tighten it up, make sure the lines match. Now the driver is set up at 9.5 degrees loft with a draw bias. Again, the key to the OptiFit hosel is to choose your loft first. So that is how to adjust your Rogue ST driver. First, pick the model that will suit you best, and then dial in your loft and lie with the OptiFit hosel adjustment. Now it's very important to remember that you can adjust your driver anytime on the range or before or after your round, but just not during your round. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please do press like and subscribe to the Golfbidder YouTube channel, and remember to follow us daily on Golfbidder Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. But for me, for now, it's Donal out.